Hey friends, welcome back to OG Universe. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today we're taking a look at the final figure from the Mcfarlane Collector Series Wave 2. We're looking at Sinestro from the Sinestro Corps War. He's sporting his yellow Lantern Sinestro Corps outfit. Is this figure worth the value that we're paying? As a collector series, we're paying $40 Canadian, but if you get it at GameStop and have an Edge card, save $5 and you're paying $35. So I'm not sponsored by GameStop by any means, but if you want to save some money, GameStop here in Canada is the place to get these. Fortunately, Walmart doesn't have them. They have the first wave and they're at discount right now. They're about $24. So if you need to pick those up, definitely go for it. There's been no indication of a wave 2 or wave 3. Hopefully they're going to come out. Now, let's take a look at the packaging from Sinestro, and we'll talk about the figure in a moment. Now, the packaging does sport some really nice Sinestro artwork. It does have a bit of a bigger box, so you do have a more, kind of like you're getting a bit more for your value, so to speak. It's more akin to the Build-A-Figure waves that have that bigger box than your standard figure. It does have the silver embossed lettering. This is number 6 in the wave. Sinestro, you do have a display stand as well. You also get the collector's card and display stand for that. And that is pretty much it, besides the energy construct that you have here that Sinestro's got grasping around his hand, and the lantern. Now, the energy construct is fantastic. It looks like Dr. Octopus's tentacles, but a bit more evil. We got this razor wire wrapped around the chain. You do have this really nicely sculpted power lantern as well, and I do appreciate it's one piece. Now, if you recall back in the day when DC Collectibles was making figures for DC, their lantern figures had a power lantern, which was 2 pieces. The handle was a separate piece and attached into the body of the unit. Unfortunately, it never really was a secure fit. It popped out sometimes. Sometimes you'd lose that handle. It was kind of a mess, so I do appreciate one solid piece. Now, the colors on this figure, now the aesthetics are very pleasing. It does have a more of a premium feel to it. It's not a traditional kind of mustardy yellow that we've seen in some other Mcfarlane figures. It is a metallic yellow with a really nice shine to it. It looks so good. The overall presence of this figure with the black, the yellow, and the pink skin tone really contrast well and just make it really stand out. So as you can see, yeah, that is some really nice sculpted work on the construct, and the construct wraps around Sinestro's arm very easily. It's a good secure connection. It's not going to fall off, and it's gonna be great for action figure photography. I think they're gonna be very useful. So we'll just take that off very easily. And let's take a closer look at the figure's head sculpt. When I think of Sinestro, this is the representation I think of, this kind of stylized head sculpt. Now, back when Sinestro was introduced, and for quite a few years, he did have that kind of elongated head. Now, imagine the Hulk's villain, the Leader. That egg-style head was used for years on Sinestro, and I hated it. I disliked it so much. But when Jeff Johns took over, we saw a drastic change, and this Sinestro is just that classic representation of Ivan Reis and Ethan Van Sciver's artwork. It looks phenomenal. Definitely a presence to this figure. The head sculpt is so well done. He has this kind of arrogance, fearlessness to him that would be very imposing if you're facing this guy on the battlefield. Definitely opposing. So now this body buck was used first by Kyle Rayner from the Blackest Night Wave, and it's put to good use. I definitely think it does have some altercations. It has the zigzag pattern that Sinestro has been sporting for years. The silver metallic belt looks really nice. And the overall black is that really nice pattern. You can see it's kind of like a mesh pattern throughout the entire bodysuit, and it just looks extremely nice. Gives the figure a bit more detail and attention, and I think it just stands out so well. Now, the power ring as well is very interesting. You see, certain figures that have been produced in the DC Multiverse wave that do have a power ring, it's just blended into the hand, and it doesn't look great. This, it stands out so nicely because of this contrast in the skin tone to the ring, and you can see, hey man, this guy's got a power ring. Very nicely done. So articulation on this figure. Your head does have a great range of motion for flight poses. Does have side attitude, which looks really good. You do have the spacer joint here for the butterfly hinge, ball joint at the shoulder, excuse me. You do have double jointed elbows. You have the ball joint at the wrist. Now for the torso articulation, can go back a bit so you can get him in some flight poses. Not too bad. Doesn't move forward a great amount. You do have the waist articulation for 360. You got the ball joint at the hip, double jointed ratcheted knees. Now the boots here, it's just like the Kyle Rayner. It's sculpted, integrated into the boot design, that ball socket, and it looks really good. It's seamless. You have the pivot, ankle rocker, and of course, you got the toe articulation. So let's bring out the original user of this body book, and that's Kyle Rayner from the Blackest Night wave. And these two guys, man, they look great together. You can see these two guys throwing down some constructs. I wish he would have come with a construct besides that energy sword that they made. So many missed opportunities here, Mcfarlane. I think it's crucial for a character like this to really emphasize the power they have, their abilities, constructs. You need constructs to really amp up what they're capable of doing. Definitely a miss on this collector series. Now, this figure wouldn't normally come with an extra set of hands. I don't think that would have been necessary because it's basically going to have one hand to hold the lantern, another hand in a fist to shoot off some energy construct or some sort of construct. So the addition of an energy construct would have been so greatly added to the value of this figure. It doesn't come with a flight stand either, which is disappointing. So I thought for sure if it doesn't have an extra construct, put it in a flight stand, or if you really want to be generous, put in both. But hopefully down the road when we get some other lantern figures, this problem will be rectified and we'll get what we need to justify the price on these figures. So let's move Kyle Rayner out of the way and let's compare him with another figure. So this figure here is the DC versus Vampires figure line. It's his Green Lantern. Now, one thing I really like about this figure, they use the original body book, which is using the 2-pack with Dawnbreaker for Hal Jordan. Hasn't been re-released. 2024, we are going to get a new version of a classic Hal Jordan. So I wanted to see how these two look, and they still look pretty good, but the Green Lantern's arms are way too long. They're just way too long. But I think that's going to be rectified in that new figure. I can't wait to get that figure and see how he turns out. But yeah, just seeing these two guys together, that'd be pretty cool on a shelf. Now, one figure I definitely want to compare it with, it's Atrocitus. So this massive, massive Build-A-Figure, as you can see, he towers over Sinestro. And this is one of the best Build-A-Figures, definitely hands down. I do want to produce a video where I'm showing off some of the Build-A-Figures that I have, and let's do a comparison countdown. We're definitely going to make that happen for sure. But he is very large compared to Sinestro, and that's kind of the way the Build-A-Figures should be. Definitely had some oomph and presence to him. Let's compare him against another figure from this wave, and that is Firestorm. So these two are at a good height advantage, both kind of parallel with each other. I kind of like the way that Firestorm just has such a really present to him. He is looking phenomenal. He's one of the best figures that Mcfarlane has produced, and in fact, this entire second wave has been very impressive of the collector series. Sculpt-wise, details, they look so freaking nice. Very, very well done. And I also want to bring in Hawkman. So Hawkman, we gave him the shield from Wonder Woman. Let's see if we can just get a better look at him. Yeah, these three figures, man, some of the best that Mcfarlane has made. And considering that Sinestro was a kind of a retooling of a body buck that's been out there for a while, he looks phenomenal. Just a really fantastic wave, and I'm very impressed with it. Now, for the price tag, is it justified? Came with an extra energy construct, and I think a flight stand would have been greatly appreciated, and I think the value would have been there. But unfortunately, we didn't. So, if you're a Sinestro fan like I am, I'm going to buy it right off the hop because I need a Sinestro in my collection. This kind of took too long to make a Sinestro, considering he's a major villain, a major component of the DC universe, and it's taken over 3 years to finally get him, but I am very happy that we got him. This is a fantastic figure, If the price is a little scary for you, maybe wait until there's a sale or something like that. But in my town in Winnipeg, when you go to a GameStop and I was looking for an extra Hawkman to do some customization, you're not going to find any. You're not going to find Firestorm. You're not going to find Sinestro. They are not on the shelves. If you didn't pre-order it, you didn't get it. And I really don't like that trend. But I can see companies with the economy the way it is and things the way things are going, they're not going to carry a lot of stock. So if you want these figures, pre-order them and make sure you get them. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. We got lots down the pipeline for video reviews and shorts. So thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.